Can I ask you a question?
Hell, you got to ask me. Mr. Stewiggy, the one you got the questions for.
How come you ain't never liked me?
Like it? Who the hell said I got to like it? What law is there say I got to like you? Want to stand up in front of my face and ask a damn fool-ass question like that? Talking about liking somebody. Come here, boy, when I talk to you. Straighten up, goddammit. I asked you a question. What law is there say I got to like you?
No.
All right then. Don't you eat every day? Answer me when I talk to you. Don't you eat every day?
Yeah.
Nigga, as long as you in my house, you put a sir on the end of it when you talk to me.
Yes, sir.
You eat every day.
Yes, sir.
Got a roof over your head.
Yes, sir.
Got clothes on your back.
Yes, sir.
Why you think that is?
Because of you?
Hell, I know it's because of me. But why do you think that is?
Because you like me?
Like you. I go out of here every morning. I bust my butt putting up with them crackers every day because I like you. You're about the biggest fool I ever saw. It's my job. It's my responsibility. A man is supposed to take care of his family. You live in my house, fill your belly with my food, put your behind on my bed because you're my son. Because I like you, because it's my duty to take care of you. I owe a responsibility to you. Now let's get this straight right here and now before I go along any further. I ain't got to like you. Mr. Rand don't give me my money come payday cause he like me. He give it to me cause he owe me. Now I don't give you everything I got to give you. I give you your life. Me and your mama worked that out between us, and liking your black ass wasn't part of the bargain. Now don't you go through life worrying about whether somebody like you or not. You best be making sure they're doing right by you. You understand what I'm saying? Then get the hell out of my face and get on down to that A&P.
But a lot of these parents will take their madness to the grave. That's just like that movie, Fences. A lot of people thought that the man was really teaching his son something, liking your ass wasn't part of the bargain. And why you worried about, he asked his father, how come you never liked me? Never liked me. So he's basically telling his father, as long as I've been on this planet, you have treated me in a way to where not only don't you love me, but you don't like me as a human being. And a whole lot of you black men out there, you overly masculine bastards. Yeah, I'm calling you bastards. That is no way to treat your son. To have your son walk around here feeling like he ain't liked by his own father, and therefore he ain't loved by his own father, because his father got beat down by the system of racism, and you looking up to a man like that? That man ain't no hero. That man is a punk. He let society and racism beat him down to the degree he didn't even know how to have a decent relationship with his son. So he's using his son as a punching bag because he didn't have enough cojones or whatever the hell y'all call it to stand up towards the system and the man who he felt like was abusing him. So he takes all of that and he starts beating on the son because he didn't have enough balls to stand up against his oppressor. Regardless of what you're going through in this life, you should never allow your son or make your son feel as though he is not loved by you or even liked by you. That's a punk way to be. You a punk. That's what you are. Because I don't care what I've been through out here in this world. Neither one of my sons are walking around feeling like their father don't like them. And then at the end of the movie, that symbolic scene where they was looking up at the sky, and symbolically the man's spirit was smiling down on them on the earth. That don't mean nothing, bro. Because when you was down here on this earth, all you gave us is hell. You give your children heaven while you're on this planet. You don't give them hell. You don't have your children walking around here feeling like they don't love, you don't love them, and let alone you don't like them as a human being. And a whole lot of you black men out there, yeah, I understand what he's talking about. Yeah, that's real. No, it ain't. That's not real at all. You don't have your sons walking around here feeling like they are not liked by you. That's not masculine. That's acting like a bitch. I would say the obvious. That statement disturbed a whole lot of our brothers out there. A lot of brothers who really didn't understand what that conversation was about in the movie Fences. The whole thing is, I talk about social engineering a lot. And when you hear things like that, you have to understand that when people end up like the character that Denzel Washington portrayed, what one has to always understand is that people were not born into the world as such. Something made a person like that. The same way certain experiences made a human being like me, and how certain experiences made a human being like you. Now, there was a few brothers on my Facebook who sent me personal messages about the scene, and they have some concerns. Now, one of the reasons why I don't get any pushback right here on YouTube is because after I make these videos, I post these videos on my Facebook. And so I get a lot of personal messages on Facebook. Now, if those people don't want to, would rather not comment here on YouTube, that's fine. I don't have a problem with that. But if there are some concerns that people have, I use this YouTube channel and I use these video opportunities to address those. So what we're going to deal with is the conversation that was in the movie Fences, portrayed by Denzel Washington. Now, previously, we really can't tell you the year, but James Earl Jones had portrayed the same character. And what I noticed when I first seen him portray the character is that after that scene was done, I heard the massive applause in the audience. In my mind, immediately wondered, okay, is it because of the acting, or is it because of the message that is imbued in this scene? What are you applauding? Are you applauding the performance by James Earl Jones, or are you applauding the message, thinking that this message is beneficial, not only to our community, but other communities, but primarily the Black community? And I say primarily the Black community is because the cause and effect that this character portrayed in the movie Fences is mostly in effect towards Black men in this society. Now, I would like to go through this conversation, which I feel was very disrespectful, which a whole lot of Black men in our community, I I think they missed it. So I say again, we have to understand what social engineering is. We have to also understand the laws of cause and effect and how it affects your emotions and how it affects your psychic, how it affects your intelligence, how it affects the person. So what I did, I took down some notes. And so we're going to go down these notes. Now, of course, his son says, how come you never liked me? Now, I think in my previous videos, I had explained that the word never, that implies his son having a relationship with him his entire existence, of his father acting and reacting and responding to him as if he did not like him as a human being. That's what that means. He said, how come you never liked me? Never liked me. And so he comes back and he says, who the hell said that I have to like you? Now, a lot of black men, and even some black women, but I'm just going to deal with black men. Now, when they hear that, to them, they say, yeah, who the hell said that we gotta like our sons? See, what you're doing is you're getting yourself mixed up, because this is your son talking to you. This is your son asking you, what has affected you? How come you act like you've never liked me? So you're dealing with a father who has been affected by the systematic racism in the economy. So basically where he got this pattern of thinking from was the man who he calls his boss at the job. So obviously he must at some point in time felt as though his employer didn't like him as a human being. So the character at some point in time probably approached him, and most likely approached him and said, how come you act like you don't like me? Now, most likely his employer asked him, who the hell said I have to like you? And then as the conversation goes on, he says, straighten up, goddammit. What law is there that say that I have to like you? See, that's the employer talking to this character. Okay? We're dealing with economics and personal feelings. That's going on today. Simply because people in the white community hire you. They're hiring you because of your qualifications, not because they like you. It's just plain and simple. This is the reason why they ask for resumes. They don't like you. They don't have to like you. This is business. I have a business to run. You're just a number to me. I'm not hiring you because I like you. I have no interest in building a friendship with you. My primary objective is to build and to maintain a business that I'm running. That's it. That's it. Your employer doesn't have to like you. And obviously, this is what his employee told him. And in effect, he brought that to his son. So, straighten up, goddammit. So he hits his son on the chest. Straighten up, goddammit. When you're talking to me. See? Study your history. That's exactly the way the oppressors imposed themselves on our earlier black men. That's how they act. And whenever our black men would address them without using the word sir, this is the reason why he said, nigga, you put a sir on the end of your sentence when you address me. That's where it comes from. Everything that he was saying to his son, his oppressor said to him. This is why you can't get caught up in your emotions and the ego and the pain and all of those things. You have to really observe, because men like this are made by the effects of social engineering by way of the economic system and white racism. And if you see me looking over, it's because I have some notes. And like he asked him, you eat every day, you have clothes on your back, not because I like you, because I have to hire you because of the Integration Act. This is where this mentality comes from. Didn't I give you a job? Haven't I put you in a position to where you can feed your family, put clothes on your back and your wife's back and all of these things? I have to put up with you. Therefore, I have to tolerate you because I have to hire you now. This is the white employer talking to the black employee. That's what that is. That's what you're dealing with. And he feels like, I have to tolerate you, not only for your benefit, but for my benefit. Because even though you have a family that you have to take care of, so do I. So you work for me to take care of your family. And I have you here to help me take care of mine. But I don't have to like you. That's what it's about. When he said, let's get this straight right here and right now. I ain't got to like you. That's the employer talking to the employee, and therefore the oppressor talking to the oppressed. But he's using this language to talk to his son because he's been a conquered man. He's been conquered. He's been hurt. And instead of him having enough intelligence and will to stand up to his oppressor and demanding that his oppressor find a better way to express himself while he's talking to him, he sat there and he took it. And so that affected his ego. And so simply because he didn't have enough courage to speak to his oppressor, and because he felt like he couldn't, because he had to take care of his family, he held all of that on the inside and he dumped it on his son. That's what my previous video mentioned. He didn't have enough balls to stand up to his oppressor, so he took it out on his son. That's why he did that. You have to understand the conversation. When you're looking at the movie, you have to understand you're dealing with a man who has been affected. As it says, I pay you for your work, and not because I like you, but because I owe you for your work. This is when he said, the man pays me because he owes me. Right. Not because he likes you. He pays you because he owes you. And he's going to do that because he has to take care of his family as well. Okay? He has to do that. Then he said, now I've given you everything I have to give you. I gave you my life. And liking your black ass was not part of the bargain. Let's go over that. Now I've given you a job. I gave you an opportunity. And liking your black ass was not part of the bargain. I'm hoping y'all understand what I mean by this. This man was so affected by institutional racism that it affected him in such a way where he took everything, he internalized everything in a way that where he pretty much lost himself. Now, a lot of you black men out there saying, I understand what he's talking about. You know, what he's talking about was true. Some of the things that he said, you can't go through life being concerned if people like you or not. And if there's anyone who understands that, I sure in the hell do. And I've been mistreated pretty much all my life, especially out here in this economic system out here in Las Vegas, where you have two communities out here against black men. You have the white community who will hire you because of your qualifications in order to keep their institution going. But the Hispanic community, if they are in any position of management, they're not going to hire you. Period. Because all they care about is their own people. Now, most people may say that's wrong. No, because black people feel the same way. Now, I don't have a problem with people looking out for their own community, but I think that it's wrong for you to not hire somebody just simply on the basis that they're not Hispanic. That's where I have a problem. However, but when you have a people who work themselves into positions to where they can insidiously discriminate against people who are not their community, sometimes this is what you have to deal with, because I dealt with it when I was working at the Rio back in the kitchen for, I would say, 8 years. I was the only black man in the entire department. And when I first got there, a lot of people were saying, he's not gonna last, because most black men who who got into that particular department. The Hispanics ran them out of there. But I hung in there and I dealt with it for 8 years until I left. So it is possible. So his father learned a very harsh reality. I'm referring to this character. He learned a very harsh reality. And the harsh reality is, don't go through life being concerned about if people like you or not, like you or not. You just make certain that people are doing right by you. See, he's talking about the economic system and the social arena. But when it comes to your son, it is dead wrong for you to treat your son in a manner that your son feels as though his father don't like him as a human being. And I will never back away from that. Never. I will never back away from that. Never. We have to create intelligent young men and not angry young men. We want to continue to create human beings and not monsters. So my point is to Black men, during our struggle out here dealing with this society and this racism, we have to be very attentive to how everything affects us, not only emotionally, but intellectually. And we have to make certain that we understand the categories that it goes in as far as the way that we perceive things. You have to understand, you have to be able to intellectually separate the two from one another to the degree that you won't end up talking to your son in that manner because you didn't have enough courage to stand up for yourself against someone who you felt was disrespecting you or oppressing you. Because when you don't stand up for yourself and you let people push you around and hurt you, and then you go home to your son and you take it all out on him, that is dead wrong. And that's all that happened in that movie. And you can't tell me that that man had all of his, how can I say this? Like most people would say, marbles. Here's a man who was slowly deteriorating, and his hurt and his frustration has started consuming him to the degree he started building a wall around his house to keep death out. Now you mean to tell me that's normal? That's not normal at all. A man who is affected by a hell-ridden society can only bring hell to his own home. And that's all he did. That's all he did. I know what he did with his wife, but I'm only concerned about the son. Do not have your sons walking around feeling and thinking that their father don't like them. I don't think a lot of you understand how very important it is to understand the distinction between liking and loving. See, when your child thinks that you don't like them as a human being, and when they say, how come you never liked me? It means I have not done anything in the past to provoke you to feel this way towards me. What have I done? So this is the reason why he asked them, why? How come you never liked me? So in other words, what have I done to deserve the treatment that you have always given me? And obviously, he wasn't really able to answer him, because through that whole conversation, all I heard was the conversation that he had with his oppressor. And he took that conversation and he put himself in the position of the oppressor, and he put his son in the position of himself. That's what that conversation was about. You have to understand how things affect you. Now, when I was suffering the abuse that my father put me through, you know, the psychological and the emotional abuse, I knew that it was wrong. And due to the fact that I knew that what was happening to me was wrong, obviously, I had righteousness sitting up in me for a time coming of when I had my children. My children were not going to be treated the way that I was treated. It is the same thing. When you brothers go out there and you go through hell out there, you don't bring hell home to your family. Because if you say it's wrong, what you're going through out here in this system, then when you go home, that's supposed to be a place of rest and peace of mind. It's supposed to be your heaven. You're not supposed to bring the hell that you deal with out there home, because it only means that you lost. You're a loser. Even when you're going through the hell out there, a man who is able to still come home and not bring that hell with him, that makes him a winner. When you're able to suffer abuse and not abuse others, that makes you a winner. It's a character who was dealing with the harsh realities of economic and systematic racism. And he allowed it to affect him in a manner that it contaminated the relationship that he had with his son. He wasn't able to love his son properly because he got destroyed in the system. And you saw it further into the movie. He provoked a fight with his son. And the camera showed him when he had his son down on the ground, choking him. The camera showed his face. He didn't have any remorse. He didn't have any compassion, because what he was doing to his son, he wished that he was able to do it to his oppressor. It's simple. It's a simple observation. It's a simple observation. So I say this to the brothers. Make certain that you listen closely to that conversation, because it's no conversation, it's nothing there that I would suggest anybody to be proud of. You have to understand that conversation. You have to understand his dialogue and where his dialogue came from. It came from his own oppressor, and it also came from his own anger towards himself and his lack of courage. and his ego and all of those things. So I would suggest y'all look at that. You brothers look at the movie again, listen to the conversation and listen inward and understand that people like that are created by the effects of social engineering. And you have to be able to understand that even though you love your children, if they feel as though you don't like them, then they won't feel loved. Now you may say, but I love my son. Well, then why is your son asking you, how come you never liked him? Now, if he feels as though you never liked him, it only means that he feels as though you don't respect him, and therefore you don't care about him, and therefore you don't like him, and therefore you don't love him. We are to create human beings and not monsters. So with that being said, I wanted to go over that conversation and put this out there for you brothers to observe. Listen to it again. And you may still end up with the same understanding. I'm just giving you my take on it. I'm just giving you my take on it. But love your sons. And never allow your sons to walk around feeling as though you don't like them. That's dead wrong. Because when you do that, you create monsters. And we have Black women out here, regardless of how difficult they are, that if we create monsters the same way these Black women are creating ratchets and putting them into the society, we as Black men, if we create monsters in reflection of the way that this man was trying to make his son a monster, in effect, we're gonna create a hell. That's all we create. Let's create intelligent young men and not monsters. And that has nothing to do with being masculine or overly masculine or alpha male or beta male. All of that is just bullshit rhetoric. That's all it is. And y'all caught up in all of that divisiveness, beta male and alpha male. Who gives a damn? You know who you are. So what? Somebody look at you and say, you a beta. You caught up in that rhetoric. I know who and what I am. And simply because you say I'm one thing doesn't mean that is so, because I know who and what I am. Y'all need to move away from that type of rhetoric, because it's only rhetoric. That's all it is. And it's got everybody going back and forth. You know, this gynocratic and all that manosphere stuff. Hey, like I say, that's not my area. So who am I to say? But I just wanted to go over this conversation with y'all, with you brothers. I'm gonna have to stop saying y'all, with you, with the brothers, to help them understand exactly my angle and the way that I understood it. And I want to continue to encourage brothers to have a loving and intelligent relationship with their sons, because they need it. And I feel that if anyone knows that, I do. And I've already talked about my relationship with my dad. I haven't told the world everything, because it's just so much. It was just so much that I went through, and because of what he went through in the South when he came to the North, and simply because he didn't have enough courage to stand up to my grandfather on his side, he took it out on me. But instead of him being my teacher and me coming an abuser to my sons, I rejected it. No, you're not going to be my teacher. You're going to be my experience. And if you teach me anything, you're going to teach me how not to be, not how to be. So with all of this being said, I just wanted to go over this and give y'all, see, there I go again, give you brothers my angle on it. Y'all be patient with me. I'm new to this YouTube experience, and I'm basically a very reserved and reclusive person. As a matter of fact, people who know me well are actually shocked that I'm even making videos with me here talking directly to you. But hey, it is what it is, right? So with you brothers, I would encourage to have an open and loving and intelligent relationship with your sons, and help your sons to become intelligent, compassionate, strong young men. And understand that we are preparing our black men for the young ladies in our community. So we have a whole lot of work on both sides. It's just not black women. We black men have a whole lot of work to do as well. So I end this video by saying what I always say: just stay human. Always remember what it means to be a human being. Understand that being a human being is just simply being a humane person, a member of humanity. So with that being said, everyone have a good day. Peace.